Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Hema from Faculty of Medicine, Muhammadiyah, Semarang University. I will present my research with the title Risk Factors of Stunting in Toddlers 24 until 59 months in the working area of the Sedan Health Center, Rembang, Regency. Stunting is still a serious problem in Indonesia. The percentage of stunting in Indonesia in 2019 reached 27.67%, and especially in Central Java, the point is 27.68%, and in Rembang, in Central Java, still the high case of stunting with the percentage 7.16%, and still not reach the limit target. And the impact of the stunting will decrease cognitive, motoric, and intellectual developmental of the children. So it will be a serious problem in the next if we don't prevent it as soon as possible. The risk factor of stunting divide into two factors. The first is child factor, include child characteristics like age, gender, birth weight, food intake, history of exclusive breastfeeding, food recall, immunization status, socioeconomic, and environmental sanitation of the child. And the maternal factor like infection in the mother, teenage pregnancy, mental disorders in the mother, short birth spacing, and hypertension, and mother's education. And the research concept framework is the independent variable like food intake with energy and protein intake, then gender, birth weight, history of chronic infection, and food recall, socioeconomic, environmental sanitation, and immunization states of the child will be associated with the stunting incidence. The method is observational analytic research with case control design and held in January until February 2021, and the sample were 45 cases with stunted toddlers and 45 controls with non-stunted toddlers. And the collect data with assessed by semi-quantitative food frequency questionnaire for energy and protein intake, and the data analyzed use chi-square test and logistic regression test. This is the results. The majority of the case is less in energy and protein intake, and the majority of the case with female gender, majority of the case and the control with normal birth weight, majority of the case and the control don't have history of chronic infection, and majority of the case with history of no exclusive breastfeeding, and this is not with control. The majority of the control was with history of exclusive breastfeeding. And the immunization status, majority part of the case and the control has complete immunization status. And the variable that significant associated for energy and protein intake and the history of exclusive breastfeeding. And for history of complementary food, the majority of the case were given history of complementary food less than 6 months, and this is the significant associated too. And the number of the family member, it means big if more than 4 family member, and small if less than 4 or the same as 4 family member. And the majority of the case speak family member, and this is also the significant associated. And for the regression logistic testing, the most influencing variable is the history of complementary food. In the conclusion, the independent variables relate to the incidence of stunting include energy and protein intake, history of exclusive breastfeeding, history of complementary food, and number of family members. And the most influencing factor is the history of complementary food. Stunting case occur in children with low energy and protein intake, and a varied food intake, especially with a high calorie and high protein composition, can prevent children from stunting. Thank you.